The books on the Atlantic hurricane season, they're about to close. And there were several storms that we had this year. But of course, the one that stands out the most is Hurricane Melissa with its landfall in Jamaica. It was the strongest hurricane to ever hit the Caribbean island and the most intense Atlantic landfall in 90 years. And now we're learning it's broken another record.
Yeah, in fact, one of NOAA's hurricane hunters capturing a 252-mile-per-hour wind reading while out investigating Melissa. And after an extensive review of the data, the National Hurricane Center confirming that Melissa did, in fact, produce the strongest wind ever recorded by a dropsonde. So we're not only looking at that verification that just came out yesterday, but also looking at Colorado State University, the verification forecast. It is now out. But how accurate was that outlook? How did it match up to what actually did play out for this hurricane season, which, again, isn't over yet, but seemingly quiet till we get to the finish line? Fox Weather hurricane specialist Bryan Norcross joining us now with a breakdown. Wherever you want to begin, Bryan, but certainly Melissa, seeing that verification, which you had talked about, looking back at the data that was collected, that this could very well be the case.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about Melissa here in just a moment because it certainly is the highlight and for the folks in Jamaica, the worst part of the hurricane season. But let's just talk about the overall numbers first. Here are the forecasts that came out early in the year. 16 named storms was forecast by CSU. NOAA gives us a range, 13 to 18. Average 14, and we ended up with 13. So we ended up slightly below average. And you can see that the forecasts were generally a little above what the way it ended up. But there are more aspects to this, of course, than just the number of named storms, which has a lot of noise in it if you look by time, because you have these little storms that can form and add to that number, but they're not representative of the hurricane season. In terms of hurricanes, there you see we ended up with only 5, and that's not unheard of, but it's really unusual for the modern era here. You have to go back to 2015 to find a season with that number, and actually there were 4 that year. And then you go on farther back and you find that it happens kind of regularly, although most of them over the last 75 years happened in the 70s and 80s when we had that real lull in activity. So unusual, but not unheard of. Average is 7, and you see, again, at the bottom end of the NOAA range and a little less than the CSU number. Category 3 and above, though, there we were above normal. So you have this kind of bifurcation in terms of the named storms being a little out of whack one way, and then those category 3 and above obviously being above normal, and that's what we experienced in spades there in Jamaica. Then we have one more thing to talk about, and that's the ACE. And the ACE is a measure of the amount of energy that Mother Nature generated in the tropical season. And here you can see an ACE of 133. So exactly what the number means is not really important. We're talking about the relative things here. And the average is 123. And I made that in red because that's going to be an important aspect of what was really unusual about this season. And I'll talk about that later on. This NOAA number of 154, I generated that because they use a little different standard than CSU, a different band of years to calculate average ACE. So I took the CSU one and then applied the NOAA thinking to it, and came out about 154 for their middle of their range, and 140 was the CSU number. So in the ballpark, but the main thing is that it was forecast to be above normal. It ended up above normal. So in that sense, it was pretty accurate. All right, here's some highlights. There's the season. It looks kind of paltry compared to what we've seen over the last few years, and indeed it was, with only one U.S. landfall. That was Tropical Storm Chantal. And look, that whole storm only lasted 2 days, so it was really exceptionally minor, 50-mile-an-hour wind, and that was it for the U.S., and that's been certainly not the case over the last several years. Bermuda was sort of in the crosshairs. They never got hit badly, but 5 storms came within range of Bermuda, and so lucky and unlucky, I guess. But Melissa was the one that came closest, and the weak side of the storm impacted them. So generally good news for having 5 storms in your vicinity. And then, of course, we get to Melissa. And Melissa came ashore at 2:10 local time there. And so in the middle of the night with 185-mile-an-hour winds, I have an asterisk there because that's under evaluation. The Hurricane Center, as they always do, will look through all the data and see what they come up with. And there's that 252-mile-per-hour wind gust, another asterisk because, yes, that was a record, never before measured, that strong, but it was measured aloft and it was a gust. So the record here is that it was measured. It wasn't crazy off the charts as being some kind of wind that we've never seen in a hurricane before, because when you reduce it to the surface where the winds are actually measured and then you take into account it was a gust, it comes out to be a more garden variety wind for a 185-mile-an-hour hurricane. But the exceptional thing was indeed the fact that it was measured. Guys?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, a powerful hurricane, and I don't think a lot of people were surprised to see that verification, but ultimately another stat for Melissa. Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Bryan Norcross. Appreciate you hanging out with us, Bryan. And then